Morning. Passing on your right. Thank you. Now we have our second river today. We've already crossed the Trent twice, and now we're following the Witham on the way into Lincoln. This we can see on the right here is student accommodation. It's a university city, so it's quite vibrant. So if you've not been to Lincoln, it's well worth a visit, especially if you get up to the cathedral and to the castle. Morning. Never speaks. I've just passed through Bardney. I'm at the halfway point now. It's a bit of a shame that my favourite coffee shop in Bardney was closed. There was another one open, but I'd already passed that and I didn't want to go back, so coffee will have to wait. You have to come off the water railway at Bardney, and you either take the shorter summer route, which I could have done today because it's a gravel track, it would have been very good, but the winter route, which is by road, is a bit longer, and I'm taking that because I needed the miles for my route. I've already had a bit of a mishap on the route. For some reason my planning was taking me along a private road which I couldn't take, so I had to detour around that, but I think the GPS threw a hissy fit, and I think it thought, well, he's ignoring me, so I'll send him straight back home. So for most of the way it was telling me to go back the way I'd already come, so I ignored it. I know the way mostly anyway, but it's now back on track, I think, so should be good for the rest of the ride. There are one or two elements that are new, so just as well it is working properly. I'd normally be doing some video from France about now, but obviously the way things have been, we've put it off. We're fortunate enough to have a house there and got a huge garden. With all the testing requirements and the uncertainty, we've thought, well, you know, the place isn't going to get any worse than it is, so we'll leave it. We'll probably go have a look at going October, November now. I note that Boris is talking about cutting the need for testing to some extent, so that makes it a bit easier, probably a bit more reliable. What we don't want to do is be over there and suddenly find that things changed in an instant, as they do, and that we have to stay in some expensive hotel. So we'll see. We're in no rush, we'll just take it as it comes. But if you suddenly start seeing some video featuring France, you'll know that we're there. Well, another little break. It's 76 miles now, so well on our way, going well. It's warming up now, so glad I went for the short sleeves. I'm wearing the Le Col bib shorts today, and they're living up to their billing, and they're very comfortable, so happy with that. Now, we in Lincolnshire, although I'm not from Lincolnshire originally, but now I am, we love to put people right that say Lincolnshire's flat, because of course we have the Lincolnshire Wolds, we have a little bit of the Vale of Belvoir near where I live, so we have our fair share of hills. However, we are now in the flat part of Lincolnshire, the Fens, and as you can see, it's pancake flat. The land around here is very productive. It's highly fertile and grow a lot of vegetables. They grow daffodils, they grow celery. Soil in this part now isn't as dark as it will be later on, but thought I'd just mention while I'm here, I mean, there was a time in medieval times when this would all be flooded, and we had drove roads that connected pasture land. So as the name suggests, they drive the cattle down to the pastures, and the drove roads would effectively be causeways between water. So it was only, I don't know what year it was, I'll look it up and put it on the screen, but they started to drain the land around here, and of course what was left was seabed at one time, and it's very fertile. As they drained the fen, it actually shrank. So as you can see here, we have a road that's higher than the land, and that's because the road was obviously built as a permanent structure, but the land has shrunk as it's been drained. It's well worth the farmers paying to have the land drained, and they actually pay a land drainage tax effectively to ensure that the land stays drained. And there's various pump houses around. I'll show you one if we see one. But it begs the question that one day when this soil eventually erodes away or isn't as fertile as they need it to be, they may not want to pay for the land drainage, and then unless anyone else takes over that payment, this could all be water again. I've just clicked over 100 miles. Got about, I think, probably, I don't know, something like 25 to go. I stopped for some lunch, and as always after you've eaten you get a bit tired, but that plus the headwind, I'm starting to feel it now. Forecast did say it was going to swing round into a tailwind, but as usual the forecast is wrong. So anyway, we're out in the Fens, flat as a pancake, so there's not a lot to stop whatever breeze there is. It can't be too much because the wind turbines are stationary, so must just be feeling tired. I've taken a few wrong turns. Had that one where I'd actually planned it into the route, and the Ordnance Survey said it was a through route, but when I got there it was a private road. But also the Garmin seems to have been lagging a little bit. and it tells me I've got probably 100 yards to go, but then suddenly it tells me I've missed the turning. So a few little loop backs, so it's all adding to the distance. So not too far to go now. It's always nice when you're on the homeward leg. Got Sunday lunch when I get back in. It's lamb shanks tonight, so that's good. Looking forward to that. Nice beer. I think I'll have earned it. Well, I've just made it back, bang on 125 miles, and amazingly for me I've averaged 14.3 miles an hour. It's really unheard of over that distance. The only thing that's changed is that I'm using the Redshift shock stop system. Now it's counterintuitive really, because it's a heavier system than, you know, the normal stem and seat post, so I don't understand why I should be any faster, other than the fact that I'm probably more comfortable. It's taking out the shocks of the road, so I'm keeping up the speed. That last bit was pretty hard going. It's I think it was 2,600 feet of climbing today. Quite a lot of that was this last section, and started to run out of steam at one point, so luckily I had a caffeine gel that I keep for emergencies, so I popped that and had a new lease of life. Well, this is how the ride looks on Ride with GPS. It's interesting that the Ride with GPS elevation is a lot higher than that shown on Strava. I'm pretty certain this Ride with GPS one is accurate. It felt like that amount of climbing. So I'd be interested to know what sort of riding you've been doing this year. Have you exceeded your normal limits? Have you achieved something that you've always wanted to achieve? I always like to hear from you, so please make a comment below. But until next time, I'll say goodbye and safe riding.